govornik je David Laufer. David je art lover, art dealer, pisac, intelektualac, poreklom je iz Švajcarske, studirao je u Francuskoj, već dugi niz godina je ovde u Srbiji i jako dobro poznaje umetničku scenu ovde u našem regionu, a boga mi i šire, kao što sam rekao, Švajcarska i Francuska, tako da pričat ću jednu jako interesantnu temu koja mislim da će biti zanimljiva za mnoge umetnike, obzirom da ovdje ima dosta umetnika i on voli da pomaže mladim talentovnim, ali i ostalim talentovnim umetnicima da se probiju i da ispromovišu svoj rad i da ga na kraju prodaju ovdje ili preko. Sarađuje sa dosta velikim brojem pozitivnih umetnika, tako da koliko sam razumio, on je neka vrsta rockstara ovde među umetnicima, tako da večeras se pričati sa vama o temi koja se zove How to Sell Analog Art in Digital World. Tako da, molim vas, pozdravim aplauzom Davida Laufera. Slobodno pričati njega i ostali ljudi.
Hvala.
Well, thanks for coming. I don't have an illustration. And just to start by saying that the title is a bit misleading. I just said, like, how to sell analog art. Basically, when it comes to art, nobody knows how to sell. What works for me, works for me. What works for others, works for others. But never believe anybody that they will tell you, I know how to sell. That doesn't work. It's the most complicated thing to sell because it's the most complicated thing to do. But I've been doing this for a few years now, and with a lot of passion and interest, and a lot of very informative failures. And that's what I would like to talk about tonight. Not only, there's also more uplifting aspects to it. But I think what I would like to talk about tonight is basically the art market, because it is so much changing right now. It is undergoing such massive changes. I mean, every market is going under huge changes. Any market these days, because of COVID, because of everything. My interpretation, if we have to start and look from a very distant point of view, that we have finally entered the 21st century. Up until COVID, we were still in the 20th century dynamic. Now we have left it, and the war in Ukraine is also very much indicative of that. Coming back to the art market, to the art world, the art markets. Art market is what? It's like you have producers and you have buyers, and everything in between is the art market. Now, for decades, let's say since the end of World War II, the art market was two things: galleries and auction houses. And on the side only, people selling privately. But like basically it was galleries. Galleries being galleries as a physical space, and art fairs, which is the yearly gathering of certain galleries in certain places. But art fairs are just an extension of art galleries. And auction houses. Now, the difference between galleries and auction houses is that auction houses cater only to the secondary market. So we will not talk about them tonight. Only briefly. Secondary market meaning let's say I am Petar Bubata, I go to a gallery, the painting gets sold. Primary market. I am the buyer of that painting. 20 years later, I go and sell it. I put it in auction. It sells at the secondary market. We don't care about the secondary market tonight. So it has changed a lot, this art world, this art market. It more than changed. It was upended. It fell on its head in the past few years. And I have opened a gallery in 2015. It's like saying I just boarded the Titanic in April 1912. It was crazy to do that, thinking back on it. It was the last moment of this 20th century dynamic in the art world, and then it just completely crashed. A lot of people, even or especially in the art world, have not yet realized just how much it has crashed. But believe me, it has crashed. The galleries are dead. Just a brief history of the galleries in general, which include Belgrade, and then I'll be speaking a little more about my own experience and the failures and the possible, potential, maybe solutions that exist in the near future. So, where did we come from? Well, basically, in the after the Second World War, the contemporary art world started to emerge from basically nowhere. Before that, painters, artists would sell directly or through their friends, or it was not structured at all. After the war, it started to be really structured, and the galleries started to emerge. The most famous one in New York was Leo Castelli, who started to discover people like Andy Warhol, and that was the beginning of the big gallery world worldwide, because immediately it went to California, Paris, London, blah, blah, blah. This was I read a lot about this era. It was very fun. I mean, you went to galleries, sex in the bathroom, people smoking. It was crazy. It was a party all the time. It was all the time a party. And so it worked. People were excited. They would go there and they would buy, and more money was made. And little by little, people bought less and less classical paintings and more contemporary paintings. And so little by little, contemporary art became something very important financially. And as much as it became important, then came the 90s and the trend that is still existing today, which I think personally is an abomination, which is the wide queue gallery, which you have everywhere today. It's the gallery where you have to enter, be silent, everything that you say will be held against you. You will be made to feel very stupid by assistants in ponytail and high heels. And you just don't ask a question, you watch, you don't touch anything, you don't understand anything, and everything's super expensive. That is the gallery world as is portrayed in every Hollywood film when it talks about art. You will be, after tonight, please, whenever you watch, my favorite is Beverly Hills Cop 1. There's a scene in an art gallery, and it's exactly what the world thinks when they think about an art gallery. Like, shut up, everything's super expensive, don't touch anything. It's horrible, because in that sense, the art world betrayed itself, betrayed artists, betrayed other galleries, betrayed the public in general, and became this mockery of itself that it is today, that is luckily finally dying. So this happened. The galleries became very big, very also in certain mutne, with the price policy, like saying to the artist, we're going to sell your painting 4,000, but actually saying it 15,000, so the artist only gets a ridiculous cut, and the gallery owner gets big pockets. Great, And then little by little, starting 2005, 6, 7, the gallery started to slow down, and money was less and less, and the art fairs were more expensive, and money was starting to be really stretched. It was very complicated. And that's the moment I started to enter the art market, and I realized that it was very strange. I mean, there was a time when I used to go to Art Basel already at the beginning of the 90s, all the galleries there were making money. It was more than that. You went to Art Basel, you were lucky to get a spot, and you knew you were going to make money. You would go to Art Basel and make your year's money. It was enough. Today, you go to Art Basel, you're going to lose money, a lot of it. And the big ones are going to make a lot of money. But most of the galleries who go to Art Basel, the big fair, they will lose money. This is new, relatively new. This is 10 years old. Before that, it was the contrary. Same for galleries in general. I'm Swiss. Switzerland is one of the most richest country in the world, most educated, very high level of general income, a very high level of education. Art Basel is in Switzerland. In Zurich, it's the hometown of Haus Wirth, which is today the largest contemporary art gallery in the world. In Zurich alone, since 2017, 25 galleries have closed. Only a few remains. And as is the case in Zurich, Paris, London, in Asunción, and in São Paulo, everywhere, only the large ones remains, and I don't care about them. Their clients are multimillionaires. I don't care. And the very, very small ones remain. Everything in between, everything is either closing doors or just losing money and don't care about it. A few months ago, I was in Lausanne, near Geneva, my hometown. Just opened a big, big new shiny gallery in the center of town. Beautiful, 300 square, great. I walk in, I talk with the owner. She's 60, worked 30 years in New York with Sotheby's incredible network of buyers, collectors, artists. And you would think, wow, she's making tons of money. 3 minutes into the discussion, she tells me, by the way, I'm not turning any profit here. Like, it's of course, of course, what do you think? Of course, every guy, in Belgrade is the same. all the galleries that you have in the center of Belgrade that are privately run, none of them makes money. They're all losing money. It's not that they come to the end of the year, it's like, oh, zero. No, it's minus many thousands. Minus. And they keep running because, well, people who own them can do that. But we have to understand that this is absolutely nuts, and it will not just go on forever like this. There's no way. It's over. So this is very, very much over. This trend is over. So you had the producers, you still have the producers, you have the buyers, and in between you had the galleries. I just want to mention that one of the main reasons also why galleries are losing so much and have been such industrial losers over the past few years is that the auction houses have been super smart in the very same time. They were only in the secondary market and now they've jumped to the primary market. You know, NFTs have started in 2020 at Christie's with people selling $69 million his first NFT at Christie's. Christie's became like the groundbreaking art dealer in the world, and Christie's has existed for 250 years. This is nuts. How is it not like an art gallery doing that, but an auction house, which in the same time sells watches, cars, and wine? It's crazy. But this is how it works. Enough with the auction art story. So back to the beginning, to the idea of like producers, buyers, auction house, art galleries, gone. Like for the mid-market, for people who are alive, young artists, mid-range artists, art galleries are gone. So does this mean like it's bad news? It's like, what happened? Where are they? You know, do people stop buying? And that's the good news. Not only people keep buying, but they buy more than ever, and more people buying. Like you have more people everywhere who buy art. More people in every country. And that is a very interesting new fact. People are more educated, they have more free time, more people produce art, and the access between artists and the general audience is now facilitated through a wonderful thing that is called the internet. So, and this is, every day we'll say, yeah, well, of course, this is the solution. Thank you very much, David. Now you can go home. We all know it's because of the internet. Yes, but no. That is, yes, of course. I have realized through my years of founding a gallery in 2015 and shutting it in 2020 that as years went by, I was selling more and more on the internet and less in the gallery. So it was just following a trend. It was very easy for me to understand that I had to understand that trend and act upon it. So I just shut down my gallery. Easy. But like, it's not that now I just exist on Instagram. I mean, some of you who follow me know that I'm very active on Instagram. And yes, it's profitable and it works and it's great. But that's not the only thing. Internet now is becoming a very diverse environment, very complicated, very tricky. You have things, for instance, like Artsy. I don't know if you've heard of it. Saatchi and all those things. The art platforms. A lot of it, just between you and me, is pure scam. Just really scam. Made to make people like me believe that it's a great idea and pay them a lot of money for a few years until you realize that, no, I was just a sucker paying for other people. Long story short, these platforms function exactly like art fairs. Somebody calls you and says, all right, we love your gallery. We would like you to be present at this fair or on this platform because next to you, there's this very famous gallery from New York and this great other gallery from Paris. And you think, oh, great, I'm in the presence of the great. So it raises my profile, me, little guy from Belgrade, beautiful, I'm so happy. And then you realize that you're paying every month hundreds of euros, but the big guys don't pay. They are getting it for free in order to attract people like me. And that's how also the fairs are working. You have like the large Art Basel stuff, you know, in Miami and Basel. Gagosian gets the booth for free. And the small sucker from Marseille will pay 30,000 euros to be there. That's how it works. I don't like to think of the world in good and bad. This is not good and bad. This is just how it works. So you either play along those lines, which I think is completely stupid, or you don't. But then you have to imagine something new. And this is where I'm at today. I have to imagine something new. And it's between us, it's scary and very exciting too. So what have I learned by having a gallery in Belgrade, shutting it, now transferring to a digital world? Well, in a few words, it's actually quite simple. First of all, the old ways are gone. And I think it's very important for artists to really put this in their heads. The galleries, the regular solo shows, it's very nice, beautiful, I love it. I go and see shows all the time. But it's over, it doesn't work, people don't go there anymore. They go, they drink a little drink, smoke a cigarette, and they go home. It doesn't excite people anymore the way it used to excite people. The experience is dead, and art is about experience. If you don't have the experience, people will not come, it's over. People don't even come to openings anymore. At the very beginning, in 2015, 17, I did my first big opening in Belgrade. 600 people came over. It was, people told me from the press and the professional people, it was the largest ever opening in Belgrade for a gallery. It was great. It's utterly impossible, just 6 years on. Impossible today to do such an opening. Just no way you're going to get 600 people to come to an opening today. It will not happen. So that's the thing, like physical space, it's over. You have to be present on the internet, not pay for it and not be stupid. Be very careful to not be attracted by the idea of prestige. That's a very big danger in the art world, like prestige, to be seen next to this or that. That doesn't matter. What you do is good or it's not good. What you do is made with passion and it meets its audience or it doesn't. You work enough or you don't. The rest isn't up to you. It's not because you were sitting or appearing online next to that it will make any difference whatsoever. You just have to keep working at it, that's all. Also, I think what is great is that for artists today, the fact that the galleries are disappearing represents a huge opportunity. All of a sudden, artists, really for the very first time in modern history, are now able to make direct contact with the buyer. You have to understand that this just wasn't possible only a few years back, because galleries were very jealous of their contacts. Galleries were insisting on exclusivity, on control, on pricing, of everything. The artist was just like, okay, I'm the employee of the gallery. Today, artists can decide on everything. They can decide on their pricing, on their production, on their shows. They can accept, refuse, do whatever they want, and they can contact people directly. They can have their own buyers directly without any middleman. This is very new and it's very exciting for artists, but it's also exciting for me because I don't have exclusivity anymore. I'm also much more flexible in the way I work. So I can work with this artist, with that artist, with an artist from here, with an artist from there, with an artist from all around the world that I've never seen, never will meet, but I still sell that person. It's very exciting new times. So this is all about the digital world, like, new ways to work with Instagram, work with all these just basic email, all these digital tools. But the question, of course, remains, which is absolutely crucial, how to show the art. I mean, today things happen that I didn't think were even possible less than 5 years ago. Like somebody in New York on their phone in the tube and seeing a painting from my site and asking me the price. I say, this is 12,000. And they say, yes, I'll buy it. And they have never seen anything else except a little reproduction on a phone. To me, this is crazy. I never buy art like this, personally. I never do that. But a lot of people do, a lot more are doing, and more will be doing so. So that's to solve one aspect, but still, artists themselves hate to just be present online. They need the physical moment between their work, whatever it is, video, performance, whatever, and not even buyers, but just people well. There's people who, artists are like bats, they fly and they scream and they get feedback and then they avoid the rocks, they need the feedback. And when I visit studios, which I do a lot, I did it this morning, you would be amazed at how an artist needs a feedback, just like we all need water and air just to survive. It's a beautiful moment when you create that moment. So how to still make it possible with all this revolution of digital, blah, 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 where to create. And I think it's actually going back 100 years, like before the age of the galleries. Before that, Matisse, Picasso in the 20s, they would just call people in their studio. And you have, a whole documentation of artists just getting people in their studio, in the mess of the studio, with the paint and brushes and the cats and just the mess. And people love that. You have no idea how people love that. If there are any artists among you, you have no idea how people love to see your working spots where the magic is happening. This is what people want. I recently made a show in Zurich. Again, one of the most sophisticated markets on this earth, where there was so much art. I had a show for a week. Maybe 20 people walked inside the gallery. The rest of the people, tens of thousands of them, just cruised in front because they are afraid of the gallery, because it's like so sterile and intimidating. But bring them into the studio, call them up, and they love it. They open, they ask questions. They feel like children. They want to touch. They ask stupid questions and they don't feel stupid. And that's great. And that, I think, the combination of those two, that is, get closer to the physical people, get closer, even if it's not like huge numbers, but just put your emotions out there, bring people in your workspace, if you're lucky enough to have one, of course. And just dare to do that. It pays off a lot. The chances for buying are a lot higher too. I mean, the real commercial aspect is much higher in the studio than in a gallery today, a lot higher. And be active online. Sell yourself, meet people directly. This is the thing. Be direct. Lose the intermediaries and just put yourself out there. That's what I wanted to say. I talked a lot in all directions now, I realize, and maybe some of you have questions. Yes?
Yeah, I'm curious, what do you feel about NFTs and AI art and stuff like that?
Okay,
that they're generally good for artists or bad?
I absolutely believe in that. I didn't want to touch on that subject because I don't deal with it. It's not, and I don't think I ever will, because I'm dealing with another sort of work. Ever since the day it broke into the market, I knew it is going to stay. It's very interesting. It opens all sorts of possibilities for artists. And it's not at all like, oh, it's a stupid trend. Like Jerry Saltz loves to, bash NFTs. Lots of critics, they say, no, but this is stupid. No, it's absolutely not stupid. NFTs are very serious. They will only grow and they will only become more important over time. But I think there's one condition that is very important. You cannot sell something. You cannot just take NFT as a tool to sell art. It's only becoming interesting if you use NFT to create art. You cannot just take your oil painting that you have on your wall, divide it into 300,000 NFTs and then sell them. That's nothing. That's stupid. That's just reproduction. NFTs become interesting when they are taken for what they are. That is, it's a multi-thing. It's a way to create art. It's a way to sell art. It's a way to transport art. It's a way to exchange art. It's all of those things rolled up into one. And it tackles some of the biggest problems of the art market. The problem of authenticity, which is crippling the art market. So many, in Serbia, this is the biggest problem. You have so many fake Rubatas, Čelebonović. It's all over the place.
Like people taking artists' work and then just making NFTs.
Of course.
There's been so much.
Yeah, but this is the beginning of it, and people will do that in the beginning. but it will stay.
No.
It will stay, and it will be more and more important, I think. I'm sure. I know NFTs are a massive thing that is happening in the art world.
Mogu na srpskom samo da objasnim.
Da.
Glavna primjena u stvari NFT-a nije to da se proda kao sličica, već on predstavlja token da mi znamo samo istoriju te slike i onda ovo što ste rekli, nema baš poentu da sliku koja ima mulje na platnu, da pretvore na NFT, to je u stvari pametna zamisao iz razloga što ćemo onda uvek znati gde se nalazi ta slika i uvek ćemo znati kod koga je bila i sve transakcije koje su se vršile u tome. I onda je pametnije u stvari kad neko posjeduje taj NFT, onda se zna da posjeduje fizičku sliku i gde se nalazi i kako možemo trgujemo. I onda neće se biti ni crnog tržišta ni svega. Kao, to je sama prva primjena NFT-a koja se dešava.
Sumnjam.
Tako je započalo, posle su odastale...
Naravno, ali Beeple je počeo kao, on je stvarao ovo tržište Beeple, sam sebe, kad je počeo da proda to za 69 miliona. Onda je od tog dana počeo da bude tržište za NFT-a. Ali pre toga je samo... I on pokazuje nešto da je po meni jako bitno, da samo vredi ako se pravi NFT kao NFT, ne kao reprodukcija.
Da, ali NFT predstavlja i druge stvari, nekada možemo zakortiti sve.
Naravno. I ima... To je...
Širok upotrebu.
Mi smo na početku te istorije. Tako da, šta će biti sa NFT-em, ja ne znam. Samo znam da će biti.
What do you think about AI generators of the art, like Midjourney? That's something on the rise for last couple of months, but it's extremely popular.
It's very popular.
And in the world, some designers associations are already raising their voice against it because it's trained on existing work of artists.
Well, taxi drivers hate Uber. It's the same thing. I mean, just a little side note here. I don't want to take up too much time, but like the internet really, for me, exists since Bitcoin. Before that, it was just a digitization of existing media. Bitcoin changed everything. Because all of a sudden, everybody was creating in the same time, verifying in the same time, and round the clock, day in, day out, 24/7, and making everything absolutely authenticated. It changed everything. So this means the disappearance of all the intermediaries. Disappearance of most lawyers, accountants, and so many jobs in the future, including designers. A lot of them will disappear.
Artists?
Yeah. Well, that's a big, then, I'm going to make a lot of people angry when I make a difference between illustration, graphic design, and art. There is a distinction. There definitely is a distinction.
But if you tell me Journey to create a picture of, let's say, Apple in the style of, let's say, David Laufer.
Listen, you know what? If people like it, they will put a price to it and they will buy it and that's it. But that doesn't mean that this will replace artists. AI will replace a lot of jobs, but it will never replace artists. It will play along with artists, but it will never replace artists.
Yeah, I feel like mostly like mid-level artists are going to be in danger. I feel like most like senior artists who are already working are probably.
I wouldn't dare and even pronounce myself over that. I really don't know.
Yeah, but I do think that it will definitely make an impact. I mean, people are already like selling AI generated images.
Yeah. Good luck for them.
Yeah.
Da se vratimo na tradicionalno slikanje.
Da.
Može. Pošto ovdje kod nas na našem području ima puno umetnika koji radi i dalje tradicionalno i moderno, ajde da kažem. Šta preporučite kao kolekcionar? Gde ljudi da se promovišu, osim Instagrama i Sačija, da li postoji još neko mjesto koje vi preporučujete?
Ne. Ja vidim jako mladih umetnika koji imaju 2-3 naloga na Instagramu. To je potpuno pogrešno. Možete se skontražiti ni jedan. Mrzim kad ima, ne, to je tako, ne, nemamo vremena za to. Samo jedan.
Ali imaju komercijalne stvari.
Da, ali ja mislim da koncentracija je mnogo bolje. Da ne idete sa sve strane. Ako idete na Instagram, onda radite samo na to. Ako ste na Sači, na to. I baš to. I uvek imate spreman portfolio, digitalni portfolio, PDF. To mora imati uvek spremno. ja ne znam, verovatno 4 put u nedelji piše. Možda se dešava 10% da je već spreman otvor. Uglavnom spremit ću vam. Pa dobro, onda čekam nedelju dana i onda sam zaboravio već. Mora da bude spreman otvor.
A kad se neko bavi videom, da li taj video stavimo isto?
Da, naravno. WeTransfer, sada sve je moguće. Nije to problem.
Hi. So you said that basically the old ways of selling are kind of dead.
Yes.
What would you say that is the solution for, let's say, performance art, something that you have to live at the moment? Is it VR, maybe, like in the future, you know?
That's a complicated one. I did promote performance art recently in a fair from a local artist, very, very good. I think VR, it's a bit like NFT. If you want to play with VR, you have to create on VR. It's difficult to present something that was done in real life, 3D, and then try to present it on VR. It's never going to be the same thing. The media has to be used in and as of itself. If you want to use VR, just use VR, but create it on VR. And performance, I think the beauty about performance very often, it's easy to transport. It's just one person. Put it on a bus, on a plane, and just, travel the world. It's easier than large paintings, whatever else. So that's the beauty of performance.